Hello everybody, today I'm going to be doing something that I love doing, that you all request quite a fair bit, which I haven't done for a while, and that is a Q&A. I got some of your questions from Twitter, and I'm going to answer them for you. Do you remember the first YouTuber you watched? I used to watch two YouTubers all the time. So the first one was Panacea81, which was Lauren Luke, and the second one was, oh my goodness, so it was Leisha, who is ex-Sparkage. I used to watch her all the time. To be honest, she is kind of who inspired me to take the plunge and do YouTube, because I loved her videos so much. Have you ever had a disastrous interview? I have done a fair amount of interviews over the past couple of years, and there was one which I feel like I mentioned briefly somewhere, but the woman came to my house and she was just asking me all these questions that had absolutely nothing to do with what she was there for. Since then I've learnt never to do interviews in your own home. If any of you out there are watching and someone wants to interview you, go, yeah sure, let's go somewhere. Don't let them come into your house. She was really nosy. She insisted on sitting inside my wardrobe and I was like, no, it's not really that tidy. And she asked me how I felt about the fact that Miley Cyrus was really scantily clad, and how I thought it was appropriate that she was a role model for young girls. And I was like, this has nothing to do with the interview. She then proceeded to say, well, when did you lose your virginity? I mean, how old were you then? And I was just like, obviously I did not answer that question, but it was really awkward, and I have had a fair amount of very awkward interviews where the interviewer just persists on trying to push you for the best headline they can get. However, some are actually really lovely. It's a right mixed bag. What makes someone a good friend? I love this question because I have so many friends who are all very, very special to me. So I think the qualities that are most important to me are someone who is caring. Caring is like the biggest thing. Trustworthy, a bit weird. I'm a bit weird, and I feel like if there's someone who I can truly be myself with, because they're caring, they're trustworthy, and they can kind of mess around with me as well, that's like the best thing ever. I think those are my top three: caring, trustworthy, and a bit weird. Or able to get on my level of weird. What is the craziest fan experience that you've ever had? Year 2 of the Radio 1 Teen Awards, me and Alfie were leaving out the back, and I think there was a woman who said, your car's just out there, and we were like, okay, and she sort of kind of waved us off, bye, see you later. She essentially released us into a mob of viewers. I couldn't see the car. I was like, okay, right, the door's closed behind us. Yeah, see you later, you're on your own now. Thanks for coming. There was screaming, running, shouting. I got pushed up against, I didn't even see the car, but I got pushed up against the car and I really hurt my back. And there was people pressed up against me, against the car, and I could hear them shouting, like, because they were stuck too, because people were pushing from behind them, and they were going, stop it, give them space, and everyone was screaming, but they couldn't move because the people behind them were pushing them. And I was just like, Alfie? Like, I'd lost Alfie, and I was like, oh, I'm really sorry guys, oh, I'm really sorry. I'm being too polite at this point. I should have literally just gone, get away! My back was being pressed against a corner of the car. I think it was the boot. At this point there's still no one like helping us, so then I think I went like that in the end because I couldn't like cope. It was all a lot, and it all happened very quickly, and then the next thing I know I was actually in the back of the taxi. But I think that was probably the craziest fan experience because it all happened so quickly, but also in slow motion. It was the weirdest thing. And I just remember that it actually hurt my back. Besides that, I think when Alfie did his book signing in Waterstones and there was like 8,000 people outside and I just burst into tears. I actually think I have a vlog of that. Is it in my vlog or is it in Alfie's vlog? I don't remember. But I was just very overwhelmed. It's a crazy, crazy situation to be in. And I was just like, oh my god, like people banging on, I mean overwhelmed in like a happy way because I was safe in the car, but it was just crazy. How is finalising book 3 going on? Are you enjoying it? I had so much fun. On Saturday, or was it Sunday? I can't remember. I handed in the first draft manuscript. So it's all happening now. I still need to do my dedications and acknowledgements, but besides that, the bulk is done and I'm so happy. It was so emotional finishing the last line of the book. In fact, I almost cried. I just really hope come November you guys love where I've taken it. That's all I'm gonna say. Can you remember the first time you got your period? Yes, I can. I was 14 years old. I had a French lesson. It was tutor time, which is kind of when they take the register. Make sure you're still there. I think it's about 20 minutes before your last lesson. And I was sat on this, we had like high stool chairs. And I remember thinking, I don't remember having a sweaty bum today. You know those horrible black tight trousers that girls used to wear in secondary school? I don't know if you still wear them now, but we used to wear them. The ones that when you walked in a puddle, they like flared out so big. And I just remember thinking, it's not a particularly stuffy day, so I don't know why I feel a bit sweaty. Is that too much information? Is that TMI? I don't know. So the chairs were grey, like a light grey, and I remember sitting on a corner for a bit. I don't know why. I think it's because they were just about high enough that you could have your feet on the ground, so people would just perch on the corners of them. And then I moved away and I looked at the stool and I was like, that looks a bit like a tiny patch of blood, but I don't think it is. Maybe that was there before, or maybe someone's drawn on it, because my tutor was a DT teacher, so there was a lot of pencils, pens, and it was the tiniest little mark, and I was like, nah, I don't think it was. And then we went to French, and I remember walking to French and saying to my friend, have I sat in something? Is there something on my trousers? And she looked, but we had dark navy trousers, which I feel like is the worst colour if you've come on your period, because how would you ever know? And she sort of did the like walk behind me and had a little look. I actually still do that now as a 26-year-old. Sometimes if I have a little panic, I'm like, I'm gonna walk ahead and you walk behind me, especially if you're wearing a white dress. You get paranoia, you get period paranoia. And she was kind of like, no, there's nothing there. And I was like, oh, okay. It's just a bit weird. At no point did I think to go to the toilet and check. I just felt like something was wrong. Got into my French lesson and we were sat on like a wooden bench. And I remember being sat there for the majority of the lesson. I scooted along and I looked on the bench and I was like, is that wood staining or is that blood staining? I just don't know. I got so confused and I was like, do you know what? Screw it. I'm going to the flipping toilet. So I went to the loo and I had nothing on me. I was one of these people that was really excited to start my period. I couldn't wait. However, I didn't have anything in my school bag just in case, because I just didn't think it would happen at school. I don't know why. So I came out the toilet, bearing in mind I think there was like 10 minutes of the lesson left, and I think I just stuffed tissue in my pants and just hoped for the best. And I remember being on the school bus on the way home with my jumper wrapped around my waist, so I sat on my jumper because I didn't want anyone to see, just thinking, oh my god, it's happened. There's no going back. Like, I'm gonna have periods now for years and years and years, and I'm gonna have to go shopping when I get back. I was really, really excited, actually. Will you ever write an autobiography? I've had a lot of people ask me this, and I just feel like my life isn't interesting enough yet. Not that I feel like it will get more interesting, but I don't know. I feel like it might be something that I do on like my 30th birthday or in my 30s. I feel like I don't really know if anyone would read that. Is my life really that interesting? I don't know. Maybe in like 5 years, if anyone's still interested by that point. There are definitely a lot of things that I wish I could say now, but I wouldn't be able to because I'd either get in trouble or cause drama. However, in like 5-6 years, if I wrote an autobiography, I could really tell it how it is now, I think. And there's certainly a lot of stories I would love to tell. Let's just put it that way. I've already sold you. Pre-orders go up on Friday. I'm joking. How was meeting One Direction? They're my fave band. I need all the deets. I realised I never talked about meeting One Direction because they all followed me, not all of them, but a couple of them followed me on Twitter afterwards, so I felt like I had to play it cool and not really talk about it. Story time. I said in my last video it was one of the most nerve-wracking days. I felt like I looked crap, and trust me, if there's anyone you want to look your best for, it's Harry Styles. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I really fancied him. The only thing I was really worried about was that they would think I was really nervous and rubbish at interviewing them. I have no interviewing experience, so there was a possibility of that. I interviewed them, Harry and Niall, and Zayn, Liam and Louis. So I had to do Harry and Niall first. So I walked in, their massive bouncer like walked me in, and Harry took off his mic. He was like sat over the other side of the room. He took off his mic, he came running over, he introduced himself to me and to Dom, my manager, who he called Don, I think, which was quite funny. And then Dom was like, oh no, Dom. And he was like, oh sorry, Dom. And I was like, hi, I'm Zoe. He gave me a big hug and he was so lovely. He kind of just hovered around us by the door. I think maybe he wanted a break from sitting in the chair. And he took me over to this fridge that was like full of drinks and sweets. And he was like, do you want a drink? And I was like, I'm fine, thank you. And he said, what about a chocolate bar? He's like, come on, you need to pick a chocolate bar. Which chocolate bar do you want? And I was like, I have a dime. So he gave me a dime bar out of his fridge. And I was like, thank you. And then I was like, okay, I'm about to do an interview and I have a dime bar. So I think I gave the dime bar to Dom. And then someone was like, Harry, you need to come and sit down. So he was like, okay. Went and sit down, did the interview. He was so lovely, as was Niall. They were both really chatty and really sweet, and he was like, you did really well. He followed me on Twitter afterwards. I would love to know why he followed me, because I'll never know, because I didn't ask him to follow me and I didn't give him my Twitter handle, so he somehow found it or asked someone. I don't know. I would love to know the answer to that. Harry, if you're watching, why did you follow me on Twitter? And then I did the other three boys who were also all very lovely. But there was just something about Harry, and I'm not just saying this because I feel like he's always been one of my favourite members of One Direction, but he was just like a ball of like happiness, and he went like above and beyond to make me feel okay in that situation. And after he'd followed me, I did send him a DM and I said, not expecting him to ever see it, and I said, thank you so much for being so lovely and making me feel more relaxed, because I was so scared. I don't remember what he said. I wish I still had it. Maybe I do. How would I find it? Okay, he said, thank you very much. I hope you had fun and you did a great job. Don't worry, ... Hope you're well, Harry, kiss kiss. And I was like, I think it was just really nice because they are just like normal human beings. Considering how bored he probably was, he was so lovely. That is meeting One Direction. Is being a YouTuber sometimes hard? Yes. I'm not going to scoot around it. Yes, sometimes it is hard, which I think for anyone in any career they've chosen to go into, they will have their hard moments. And just because being a YouTuber may seem really easy to some people, because it's not something that they're working within or doing. And I just think, like with everything, you're going to have your down days and you're going to have your up days, but the difference is everyone else is going to know about them. And I think that's the hard bit, definitely. Besides that, I love what I do, so is it ever really hard, or is it hard but I still enjoy it? It's a very grey area because it's a hobby and I love it, but it's my job and I earn a living from it, and you know, it's a big responsibility. It's a job that wasn't a job a while ago, so we're all learning, and with the good days come the bad days, and it's the same in any career and in any job really, so that is my answer to that. I feel like, as always, I've rambled on for far too long, so I'm really sorry if this video is a little bit longer than normal, but I did put two kind of epic story times in there for you, so I hope you enjoyed those. Thank you so much for watching, and give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and if you want more kind of chatty Q&A story time type videos, and I will see you again very soon. Bye!